New satellite imagery made public revealed damage to the USS Connecticut nuclear submarine. It's now ported in Guam, but images show the nose of the sub removed in what's suspected to be a head-on collision with an object in early October while the sub was in the South China Sea near the disputed Paracel Islands. Now, early statements seem to confirm that none of the nuclear components were damaged, with the U.S. Navy allaying concerns of any nuclear leak. Meanwhile, other satellite images in China show new silos being built. It's suspected that these are for nuke buildup and a new location capable of launching long-range nuclear missiles. The FAS, the Federation of American Scientists, say the Ordos missile fields is something the U.S. will need to monitor. So for more on these, we'll go to former UK MP George Galloway. So George, I hope the Aussies are better drivers than the Americans of these nuclear submarines. Scientists seem to think the USS Connecticut hit something literally pint-sized. What do you make of this?
Well, it clearly hit something, and it's clearly on the nose. You can believe the U.S. assurance that no nuclear material has been accidentally released, although you'd have to ask yourself how relaxed you'd feel if you lived in San Francisco if a Chinese nuclear submarine crashed into something of whatever size just off your coastline. It's the failure to walk a mile in the other fellow's shoes that precludes anyone thinking that way. It's assumed to be natural that the U.S. would have a nuclear submarine off the coast of China, whilst if China had a nuclear submarine off the coast of California, everyone would be up in arms about it. But it's an accident, I hope. It might not be, however. It might be that the Chinese were taking anti-submarine measures in their own waters, and if they were, who could blame them?
Now, George, on that note, the Chinese are now demanding, quote, a full account of what happened in their waters. They are obviously worried about a nuclear leak. The foreign ministry spokesman says, quote, this shows the irresponsibility of the U.S. But the Navy basically says, relax, the reactors are intact. Now, pun intended here, but how much damage control must the U.S. Navy do?
Well, they would say that, wouldn't they? They'd hardly say, yes, actually, we have released nuclear material into China's waters, because that would be, frankly, an act of war. So, of course, they're going to say it, whether it's true or whether it isn't true. And I ask you again, how relaxed would Americans feel if the boot were on the other foot? I suspect not relaxed at all. Now, the truth may be somewhere in between. What did the submarine hit? What was damaged? Was any nuclear material accidentally released? But the Chinese spokesman's word, irresponsible, is a word I've been using in discussions with you and others for quite some time now. This war with China, if it comes, can come in one of three ways. And one of those three ways is by accident, by something like this happening and triggering a whole series of steps that end up in a shooting war. It's very frightening.
Yeah.
I ask you this, Manila, and I ask your government this. Why was your submarine there? No one can answer that. Why was it there?
Yes, I mean, I certainly don't know the answer, and it does give me chills to imagine that there could be a miscommunication, miscalculation that really could trigger a nuclear attack on one another. Now, on that note, George, on China's part, new satellite images reveal the development of a brand new nuclear silo. China was not a part of the First START treaty, nor were they a part of the New START either. So, given the development of the silo at Ordos, do they need to be?
Well, of course, in an ideal world, but if I was China, I wouldn't start until you stop. The truth is, China feels that it is under siege, and it is. The United States Navy is sailing off its coastline, both above and below the water. American military bases completely surround China. I ask again, what if there were Chinese military bases in Canada or Mexico? How relaxed would the American public feel about that? So as long as that's happening, China will continue to arm and strengthen itself against attack, if only to deter that attack. So I, of course, wish that China was in the START Treaty. I wish everyone obeyed the terms of the START Treaty. But I don't think you're going to talk China into that one, whilst it feels that an imminent attack upon its territory, even if that territory is disputed, like in Taiwan or the Spratly Islands, if China feels threatened, it will arm itself. Think of it like a porcupine. When it feels that someone is about to attack it, up come as many sharp spines as it's possible for the animal to deploy.
Very well put. Great analysis as always. George Galloway, thank you.